Всім доброго вечора. Мене звати Володимир Стецик, я віце-президент Київської школи економіки і я є лідером бізнес-освіти. Сьогодні мовою нашого вебінару є англійська, тому це до питань-відповідей останні фрази, які я говорю українською мовою. So, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks a lot for joining us. And it's 6:30. It's time for us to start our discussion today. So, my name is Volodymyr Stecik. I'm leading business education at Kyiv School of Economics. And today I would like to invite you to first ever in history of Kyiv School of Economics, our online open house. So we're going to discuss a couple of questions with you. I would like to cover today some thoughts for each student. Why do we need business education at all, and why in particular it could be good to consider Kyiv School of Economics. Also, it's apparently quite turbulent time, and that's quite interesting dilemma to think whether or not it makes sense to get the business education during the crisis. Since these two topics are quite sensitive, so I am happy to introduce also our alumni who can help me to answer to these questions. Why KSE is a good option for business education, as well as why it makes sense to get this education at Kyiv School of Economics. So Oleg and Sergey will help me to answer these questions, and they will be here, I hope, helping me to answer your questions about this educational experience at school. And the last topic for this discussion gonna be what should you expect in 2020-21 in the next our campaign. So I think approximately 30 participants at this moment, and this online format is calling for some interaction. So typically I would like to start this discussion with some input from your sides. So dear participants, can you please help us to understand your expectations so that we can tailor a bit the messages and we can tailor a bit the program, as you will see in our next stages. My first question to you, and I'm asking you, please open the website menti.com and using the code 732682, you'll get the questionnaire with some drop-down menu with some options to answer the question, why are you considering business education? So please, as soon as you will fill in the answers, we will see some progress, we will see some answers already online. There are a couple of options we were thinking about why it could be useful to get this business education based on our interviews, based on experience of other students. So we are considering it is good to get MBA diploma. It helps to open new horizons. It helps to fill in the gaps in business education, increase professional network, improve some specific skills probably, or overall start our career. Apparently there is not the full list of options, so there could be some other answers. And in our next question, you will have the option to provide your options or your choices as far as they could be different from these 6 options represented on the page. So far we have 3 answers, and we have apparently the leader, which is increased professional network. Thanks for contributors, and I'm quite excited to see this interactive update of your answers. Some new leaders are coming, but still professional network is on top. It's a bit of Not enough. It's still single digit representatives. I hope you can. Okay, 32 participants. So guys, I can wait for 2 more minutes probably. Then we need to move to the next question. By the way, there's gonna be open survey for a bit longer. We will share this presentation, and even if you had not enough time to think about your motivation, you can do it after the discussion. But I wish to share these answers in our final presentation too. So please join us in this survey. Okay, we still have a leader, which is in increased professional networks. That's great news. I hope we can help here in Kyiv School of Economics too. And you know, that's quite exciting. Peers, I cannot say pressure, but it's rather about starting from a peers. Sometimes it helps even more than starting from a faculty or lecture. So professional network really is one of the advantages you can expect in business education. Okay, you can still continue, please do so, but I will move forward. There will gonna be another question, and another question is
Volodymyr?
Yes, please, Yuri.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but are we supposed to look at some dynamics because we see your presentation right now?
Oh,
and not
sorry for that. The dynamics is on a different screen. For whatever reason, it's not projected. Just a second. Thanks for this. Can you see it right now?
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
Yeah, it's better. Thank you.
14 answers, and I'm sorry for that. Those Mentimeter gives an option for us to see how the bars are changed within each answer you are adding to this survey. Okay, there's gonna be a different survey right now. It's gonna be the question, what are your expectations from business education, but in your own words. So please just forget about some limitations and some other frames provided on the previous page. Just give your 2 words. What are you expecting from business education? Here's gonna be a bit different dynamic, and I hope you can see it right now. As soon as there will be some words repeated in this chart, the size will be larger, so we can find a leader, if any. At the same time, it's pretty okay if there will be very different answers. Come on, I hope you had a chance to think about these questions, but it's still okay if no, and I can give you some answers we got from our students, so that these ideas probably will help you. Can you see my screen right now? Just, I don't know.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thanks, Yuri. Thanks for assisting me here. So how this question is answered by guys, my friends, actually, some Ukrainian students who are either graduating these days or graduated quite recently from top schools in the world. So we have here one quote from Wharton, another from Chicago Booth, the third one from Harvard, and the fourth from INSEAD. So for Wharton, colleague alumni network, that was one of the key advantage of business education. At the same time, staying in US was an asset which was gained via education in States. For Chicago Booth friend, it was an option to become a member of global business community. And by the way, since it was kind of fully dedicated 2 years to education rather than to regular work, it was a good opportunity for self-reflection. In terms of Harvard peer, it was a discussion about value of business education for network and as a strong brand in CV. And I got quite comprehensive input from my colleague who graduated from INSEAD. So you can see that many possible answers. Hedge against falling business activity in Ukraine, because apparently that's a broad education. Some increased competitiveness at current job, despite its top consulting company. Some education for the last job. That's pretty famous statement about the MBA. Some other answers, anyway, you will get this presentation, so I don't want to spend too much time on this. How though this question are answered by Ukrainian students? In
Volodymyr?
Yes.
I'm sorry again, but we still see your browser, and I think.
Okay, thanks.
I'm sorry.
That was the question. I'm sorry for this. I think I do not need to open the browser, but in browser we see the word development as the leader. Okay, now we are in a PowerPoint world again. So these were the quotations. Do you have right now the PowerPoint?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, sorry, thanks. So that were the quotations I mentioned about international schools. Few more about internationals you may find on the second page, but what is interesting, that was the outlook of Kyiv School of Economics students. Opening new horizons, filling in gaps in business education, and improving specific skills, the top 3 leaders, as well as, by the way, increase of international network. So we could speak about some clear 4 leaders for our students. I'm a bit scared to jump from one presentation to the browser, but again, that's 2 more questions for your input, and then we will use just PowerPoint. So guys, do me a favor again, and please open Menti and give your ideas what makes Kyiv School of Economics unique. There are some potential options. You can trade them, splitting 100 points between those options, as well as gonna be another question, which is about your open or your own words. For the first one, please use the code 638421. Again, website menti.com, the code 638421. Here we may find some answers about the previous question. What are your expectations from business education? So the size of the word development helps us to understand that it was repeated a couple of times. Coming back to the previous question, this was filled by 16 people, and we see that increase of professional network and filling in gaps in business education. There were 2 leaders, is 20% of the points. And now we are answering to the question, what makes Kyiv School of Economics unique? Please use the code, again repeating 638421. And here we have 2 leaders, education in English and strong faculty. But there are only 5 answers, so I encourage you, please help us here. 27% of points for education in English. That helps a lot because there are many doubts whether it is a competitive advantage in Ukraine or disadvantage. And I'm pretty sure that it is an advantage, but majority of other business schools in Ukraine, they are doing the education either in Ukrainian or in Russian. Despite I strongly believe that English gives you a flexibility, which is the king, as you may know, as well as it gives you access to the most recent articles and the best global knowledge. And also we are enjoying of community of international students at Kyiv School of Economics. We have currently some students from Poland, from Indonesia, from Canada, as well as we are enjoying collaboration with English-speaking lecturers, which helps a lot us also to increase the horizons. So 7 answers so far. We have education in English, strong faculty, convenient schedule. For me, that's kind of another important sign we should improve. We should think about it as well. Unique business education programs, recommendations from graduates. Okay, as soon as you can still fill in this questionnaire, I will also be very grateful if you can spend an extra minute or so on the last survey for this discussion today. It's what makes KSE unique in your own words. You can use any words you would like. There will be no kind of control these days. So please, the 6 numbers to use to fill in this questionnaire, it's gonna be 990560. Community and actual ideas. I want to keep the screen open for probably 2 more. Yes, community. Thanks. You see this impact of repeated word, which is larger right now. Networking, community, networking, evidence-based. Thanks for filling in. It's still open. You can either do it during our discussion or even a bit later on. So we probably come back to these codes after the end of discussion, and we will check the latest input. Right now, I'm switching back to the PowerPoint. And again, thank you very much for your contribution. How did our students and our alumni answer to the same question? So I hope, Yuri, it's now PowerPoint. If no, please let me know. Thanks again for assisting.
Yeah, everything is all right now.
Awesome. Okay, so for, as you may see, by the way, the left hand side is a bit different from the right hand side in terms of grading this rationale for choosing KSE. Unique business programs, English language, and good price are the top 3 for our students, while alumni are ranking education in English as a number 1. At the same time, strong faculty and alumni networking. And I would also add here convenient schedule. By the way, the definition of convenient schedule was having all the classes over end of the week, Friday afternoon plus weekend, which typically gives the flexibility to stay at work almost with no disruption for regular work. At the same time, it creates some extra pressure for families, for weekends, etc. But that's probably the best compromise you can get for business education as soon as you're applying for it. Also, here, I would like to use a momentum to share a couple of facts you probably know, probably you don't, about the business education in Kyiv School of Economics. But again, I would like to emphasize that's English only. We are doing our programs, except of MBA for state-owned enterprises, which is in Ukrainian. All other programs are done in English. We are proud of unique mix of strong academic faculty and business practitioners. In that case, I'm a bit in trouble showing the next page, but still, let me explain why I'm in trouble. I wanted to keep the decent size of pictures and decent size of the font just to describe our lectures. And apparently I couldn't put here the entire list. So please, I could hardly say that the guys who are not here are weaker or less bright, but all our faculties. And we are working with approximately 50 people, 50. They are as bright as these stars on this page. So we have a combination of PhD degree. These are the professors who are bringing this strong academic background, fact-based, evidence-based, as you use these words. Also, we have an awesome combination of business practitioners, and I'm really proud of speaking about people at level of general managers in global known brands like Red Bull or L'Oreal, but there are some probably not as well recognizable brands, but they are very, very strong practitioners and unique knowledge in some local business or in many different businesses. So yes, we can say we are proud about the mix of academic faculty and business practitioners. Also, we are talking about practical focus on our programs. And by the way, the state diploma is not given in all business schools. So our MBA program, which is passing this requirement of 90 credits, is giving you a chance to get a state diploma, as well as apparently Kyiv School of Economics diploma. There is international accreditation, but also it's important to know that we are talking about lifelong community and lifelong network. There were a couple of changes for last month I wanted to share with you. So we switched to online education since March 13th, so it was still before the quarantine. Recently, within the last 3 weeks, we conducted the cycle of anti-crisis webinars, providing the updated content, discussing about the really up-to-date issues and how to tackle them, how to address those issues. And we started recently collaboration with one of leading executive search companies to support our alumni and our students in their new career development and new career opportunities. Based on the feedback from the students, by the way, we understand that we need to improve our network fund and some other initiatives, and they are under construction these days. By the way, we achieved some progress, but it should be improved or reviewed because of the quarantine, so it's still under construction. My last question, because before I will hand over to Sergey and to Oleg, it's probably one of a critical question I am asking myself if I imagine I'm in a position of potential student. So a couple of years ago, or 10 years ago, when I was thinking whether or not I should apply for business education in 2008, it was a crisis time. And there were many discussions whether or not it makes sense to get the business education degree. I would share 5 potential pros or 5 potential supporting factors why it's a good moment, what it makes sense to get this education these days. So first of all, you can think about how to secure your investments. And whenever you are investing in your knowledge, whenever you are investing in your network and new experience, it provides the highest ROI. So you will have to learn these 3 letters in your financial lectures. For people from financial background, with financial background, it means return on investment. Highest return on investment is investment in your education. Building a positive mindset. Crisis is an opportunity rather than a threat. That was the mindset we were discussing during the entire anti-crisis webinars. And I am pretty sure that our lectures, based on their experience, will help you to gain this mindset. Also, leveraging up-to-date frameworks and comprehensive toolkits to structure your thoughts and to find some solutions out of the box solutions which are following this in terms of your own business challenges. Apparently, that's not easy to state to stay above the crisis, above these new challenges each day. Whenever you're coming for some new classes, new education, you are getting this opportunity to have some external view and to challenge your regular flow of thoughts. And this is standard say in English, last but not the least, but that's really important, establish new contacts and expand your own network to be ready for leapfrog recovery. So if we are thinking about crisis these days, we should also dream about the recovery, and you will gain the best results if you are really prepared for this recovery. Business education will help you to get these toolkits, to get these networks, to get all the required support to be as fast as possible as soon as the economy will start recovery. Here, I think it should be not one-man show. That is why I would like to invite our alumni, and I know that Oleg was here first, so probably I will start with Oleg. Please, our alumni from MBA 6th group, and I really, appreciate you coming and joining. So please share your story with us, Oleg.
Okay, of course you are seeing a slide, but maybe a couple of words regarding my experience. I decided to join the KSE MBA program during my time when I worked for the international company Shell One. It's a retail part of the business in Ukraine. It's still in operation. I was already on the 10th years in this company. And I really understand that if I really want to make a boost for my career, I need to get the knowledge from the top schools when I start to choose what I need to get and which school can offer me the opportunity to grow. I also realize that I do not have an opportunity to travel abroad and spent some years in another international business school, maybe more famous and more well equipped and outside of Ukraine. But having a career and having a family, it was not so easy to choose such an option. That's why maybe for some younger colleagues, if you are not having such things in your life yet, maybe there are some other options for you. So when I start to check what there are some opportunities in Ukraine, I realized that the only business school with English professors who did PhD mainly in USA, and also where the program is built in English, it's only Kyiv School of Economics. And for me, it was a really great bonus because being a part of the international business, I really understand the value of opportunity to speak in English, to write in English, and to do the business in English. So it's a really huge opportunity to be a part of the international business here in Ukraine, or move to any nearest country, or maybe in a far away located country to continue your business career. So it's easy in international company. And I also had such a chances being a part of the Shell group. I worked in Turkey, in Poland, in Russia during my career. So it's really helpful when you can speak with colleagues. So I realized that all new materials will be also accessible in English much quicker. Then it can be translated and so on. Another part for me was that the high value for money for the MBA program, because it was lower than the other Ukrainian schools, which put some additional travel options, some additional parts, and it increased the prices. So for me, I realized that if I really want to do something, I will go to this country by myself or in additional, and it's not just a fun. So I need to pay off my education, and I need to see it's like a business project. So it should be NPV calculated and all the money which I will get, and practically I got. So just to make a small teaser, I pay off my MBA investments in a half of a year by increase of the salary after the changing of the job. So of course it's my case, but you also need to think about this opportunity and not just see it like a good development for some further improvement of your career. Maybe there are some other opportunities that you can get your money back quicker. And what I really found, it was a good teams with also people who want to develop their knowledge and develop themselves. And it was a good quality of the group, and also the nice quantity. So it was not a really big group. We were at the maximum something like 15 students in a group. Also, I liked in my MBA program that we have some regular studies. We do not have it something like once per quarter or once per month for some like 4 days activities, but we have it on a regular basis. So it was really easy to combine it with a job, because you know you need to continue to do your job in my case, and it was really great. Also, what I really like that it's like a projection of the USA-based approach of ethical standards and merit-based approach regarding the evaluation of your works. So it's also nice when you really study hard, you do not cheat, and all atmosphere in the school is really support all this stuff. So for me, participating in a traditional, I would say, MBA program, the only constructive moment is that I need to add some additional things and courses which were developed later, like artificial intelligence, all this data transformation stuff. So for me, I see it's like also a good opportunity now having a program of the traditional MBA plus all these digital and technology courses, which can really enlarge your career path and combine it with more opportunities.
Thank you, Oleg here. And can you please help us to think about the sense of business education during the crisis? Does it make sense to consider it during the crisis?
For me, for sure, because you know, having some opportunities to join some different companies. I also joined a company which was at the start of the really rapid growth, but this crisis was like a more serious surprise. So of course, having the background of previous jobs and the education at MBA, you really have an opportunity to quickly review the strategy, and more valuable is that you really can build, update, and improve the financial model and the business model itself. So you can make some really quick steps, and also you can adjust strategy, having all these really hard business environment nowadays. Also, it's an opportunity that we are at the stage of communication with European investors, who is a strategic ones in this area, and really the crisis will over. And we know how to prepare the company for potential cooperation with the big ones. And it's also an opportunity how to structure it and really focus on the main essential things which will be available in the future. And of course, I see this crisis as a good opportunity for majority of the company to make these digital transformation steps and business process optimization. Because before the crisis, it was not a lot of companies who really focus their resources and people on it. So now, like, it's a great joke memes, like COVID-19 is driving your digital agenda. So it's really interesting. And for my personal career development, I really collecting the knowledge and jobs to become a CEO of some companies. So it's also for my personal plans. Even in a crisis, I still continue to have this opportunity in the future.
Thanks a lot, Oleg. It's a very, very exciting story. Thanks for sharing this with us. Also, we have here with us another alumni from different program, which is MBA AI 20. Sergey, thanks for joining, and please tell us your story, why you think Kyiv School of Economics makes sense in business education.
Hello, Vladimir. Hello, everyone. Thanks you for the possibility. I would like to share my story. I thought, first of all, about MBA a year ago when I visited a Alexander Romanko seminar about data science, and I wondered that there are a place in Ukraine where I can get not just an MBA, but an MBA strongly connected with some technologies. And I decided to join Kyiv School of Economics, first of all, because it's very friendly to new trends, new technical trends about artificial intelligence, digitalization, and there's a real power in modern world, in a world of technical giants. And there's a worldwide trend in business education to combine management and technical side. It's not just a some theory and not just psychology, but also a understanding of technologies and engineers and combining them. So that was my first priority, to catch a tech trends. The second was a pay competitive price, because it's much more competitive with other Ukrainians business school, and much more competitive with business schools with the same scope, let's say. And after that, I understood that KSE has a recognized brand, and that's a very important for your CV, for example, and it's open the doors for you in different companies. So another point was to learn from international practitioners. All of our lectures were from Ukrainian Canadians, which flew to teach us for weekends, and we had a lot of practice. And I'm very glad, because this possibility to learn from those who work in different companies all over the world and has a great experience. English and soft skills, most of us has a great skills starting the course, because it's like predefined to start this education. But after that, we get much more confident in our soft skills presenting and English, because of constant practice in it. And I'm very happy to join such young and energized community. I believe that it has a very big potential, and it was one of the most undervalued while I started this education. Community is really important in this case. And talking about some profits from business education during crisis, I would point that that's a new connection that really can boost your career and boost your business on new economic cycle. you can develop an open mind approach and get some unseen opportunities, like it was with me. For example, I just learned different technology stacks and new disciplines, and prepared my Capstone project, which now I can develop in startup, user story top, and I constantly developing into new business. That's I can't imagine it's a year ago, for example. And you become a tech savvy in digital era. So it's very important because technology rules the world, and you should go this. Yeah. And talking about approaches, it is cutting edge, and you can get it while world is on pause, on quarantine. You can just take your advantage. And finally, you get an MBA diploma, which is competitive advantage taken into account a recognized brand of Kyiv School of Economics. So summarizing, I would say that I can't imagine all possibilities while I joined KSE, and now I am very happy that I did those decisions. So thank you.
Thank you, Sergey, for sharing the story. Thank you both guys for finding this time to join us today. And please stay with us. There will be some more fun for alumni community apparently. Okay, we are a bit under time pressure, so I hope still to manage within the remaining, I don't know, 18 minutes, but it's gonna be tough because a few more pages to share. So the product portfolio as it was in the previous year, so in the current academic year, you see that we are talking about 3 programs: MBA, Master of Business and Management in Artificial Intelligence, and Masters in Digital Transformation, but there are gonna be changes. So this information is not really valid for the next year, because the next year will be different, adapt or die. We cannot now ignore the changes on the market. We cannot ignore the trends. That is why we are thinking, how can we maximize the value for our students? We will somehow reshape the programs. We need to think about the impact of a travel ban, because availability and flexibility of international lectures is limited these days. As well as, by the way, we will show some practical questions about the recruitment campaign. It's impacted by quarantine as well. So there will be some open dates, and this situation these days is a call for flexibility and ability to adapt as soon as possible. So what is the design of MBA? I'm inviting you to think about the story as Oleg described a bit, but one day, a year ago, I was invited to a position of CEO for mid-sized business in Ukraine. And I understood that I got some knowledge from my past experience, but it was not structured in the right way. So to structure it in the right way, we will help you here in our MBA classes. For example, we will start with some fundamental economics. For those of you who are here, and I was thoroughly reading the profiles, there are some people with non-economic background. So economic fundamentals is important. Another basement in this story is the strategy. So you should know what is a strategic foundation for the business. Then think as the owner of the business, or think as a CEO. You need to run some typical functions, which are HR, finance, marketing, sales. These functions you may find in different business, production or service business, etc. At the same time, you need also to be equipped with some enablers. And these enablers could be leadership skills, change management skills, some risk management skills, etc., etc. So these enablers you're gonna also get during the MBA. One of the typical requirements we have in all our programs is so-called Capstone Project, or the final project. It's, in other words, a diploma. you should prepare your project based on the knowledge you got during the education. And me, with a long tail of consulting experience, I would insist on having this project as practical as possible. And you'd better have your mistakes during this capstone than in the real life. And that is another asset you can gain during this business education. You can test, you can probe your ideas, you can get the feedback from the experienced experts who will find the pain points you can improve in capstone before it will be implemented in the real life. There is another element, the element number 6 in the MBA program. It's a bunch of elective courses. And this bunch of elective courses will be structured in some topics. So for example, as soon as you are doing operations, there will be, in other words, in universities, you can find minor program in operations or minor program in digital transformation. Some few more will come. We are thinking about this design, and it gonna help you to gain the unique combination, unique experience you need during the MBA. I know all these details are important. All these courses are important, but this information will be just for you as a post-read. So I will not spend my time here, and I'm happy to say, by the way, that Sergey mentioned name of Alexander Romanko. Alexander is a leader for artificial intelligence, and he was at this call a couple of minutes ago. I hope he's still here. But the next page, and I'm handing over to another leader of digital transformation program. Victoria, are you with us?
Yes. Hi all. Hi all of them.
Hello, Victoria. Please help me describing the program of MBA in digital transformation.
Thank you, Volodymyr. Pleasure to meet you all on this call. I will be rather brief on description of the program. So basically, it's quite fresh for KSE. Last year is the first year for the program, and we plan to continue it for upcoming educational year. Based on lessons learned from current year, from feedbacks from the students, we are shaping program structure. So what you will see now is preliminary, but more or less structured in a core blocks which we want to discuss. So basically the idea is that we have two groups of people who can be interested in such program. One group of people is representatives from non-IT businesses, either industry, manufacturing business, FMCG, food manufacturing and goods, banking, any C-level or VP level or head of function level representatives, which are great in their expert areas, but who need to know a bit more about digital stuff. So digital transformation is a great buzzword. However, to understand this buzzword, you need to deep dive to each component of digital transformation to understand how to handle either IT product or IT strategy, different level of tasks. And this program will help perfectly for such people, for such students, to deep dive from one point of view, and from the other point of view to create a good capstone projects for their business cases in their businesses, either own businesses or corporations where they work. And the second pool of potential students are from IT outsourcing. Why? They are already inside of IT. But as you may know, IT outsourcing business is quite function-based. It's quite splitted. If you are doing BA type of work, you're usually not doing anything else. If you are doing PM type of work, you are just PM. All biz dev, sales, marketing are done by some other functions, and usually even in some other countries. So MDT will help such type of students to collect all puzzles together and really to plan their career steps inside their company for some VP level or extra, or to plan their career path for some product company, because outsource is just one piece of the market. And basically, to set ambition to become a C-level, VP level is a great ambition for any student. And DT program will help with that. So Volodymyr, if you can switch to another slide. Basically, just to briefly present the program, not doing deep dive, we are talking about some top of the top and good governance courses, which is very crucial for strategic level. crucial to map business strategy with operations and with IT. It's about IT strategy, enterprise architecture, roadmap planning, as well as focus on some product or IT solution level. Because sometimes it's not possible to fight against a lot of politics in the huge corporation. And one of the solutions is to create some product which will enable better customer experience or better employee experience, better employee engagement. So it could be a case when big changes will be driven through product level exposure. And on MDT program, we will be teaching how to enable such change at the IT product level also, and IT solution level. And some compliance and governance courses, like IP rights, like portfolio management. These are more enablers, because it's not enough to be professional and to plan some product or strategy level agenda. It's important to implement, because planning is great, but implementation is challenging. And on the program, we will also cover some soft courses and some quite challenging leadership courses to educate students how to handle with that. So basically, if Volodymyr could switch for last slide from my side, there is some preliminary course structure which we will be discussing and finalizing soon. And our idea is two options: pure MDT program, it's on degree program, or MDT and MBA program. That's for students who want to cover strategic management, marketing, quantitative methods for financial accounting, which is very important for any business case preparation. And mixed with MDT courses could help such students to enable themselves, I would say, being quite digital and great educated professional at VP or C-level position, who is enable change in the company with focus on digitalization. I think that's all. Was rather brief. Hope to have another session, maybe half an hour on specific project program questions, if any. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Victoria. That was really, really rapid move across the entire program. But I know based on experience that it's quite difficult to maintain your attention for more than an hour. So we are in a big challenge to be very, very focused and sharp. Hope we are managing still. So we are using very, very often the word illustrative or just under construction. It is only because we are really keen to create as much value as possible for all you guys, because current world is no longer the world it used to be a month ago. So we must adapt. At the same time, there are some elements which are remaining the same. So for example, who could be our target profile student? And here you may find some ideas, some guesses. Apparently, I would like to attract your attention to this box, which is describing the employers. As soon as we are doing our education in English, you should pay back. And thanks, Oleg, again, for great example. As soon as you invest, you need to calculate how to get your pay back on this investment into business education. Typically, you will have more chances either in your own business, apparently, but as soon as you are English-speaking person, you may think about export, either services or some goods. But any English-speaking companies will value your diploma, will value your experience you are gaining in MBA. What is critical for me, and we will pay our special attention for selecting the right community, because community is an asset. And as soon as we have motivated people here, we will create a strong community. As soon as we create a community of people who would like to build their own business, you will enjoy this experience because you will discuss the ideas. You will find some strong opponents or peers. You can test and probe your ideas with them. And apparently the new horizons, readiness for a change either in industry or in a function, that is a prerequisite. You need to be motivated to come to join the MBA program. There were lots of discussions about this threshold for business experience in terms of the years. And we have quite a few people who are either below 3 years of experience or even exceeding 15 years. But I would say our normal distribution curve, our expectation for this range is driven by the elements at the largest value for a student. You are gaining as soon as you have some good experience or starting experience in a real business after bachelor degree. Probably you will not gain the entire value of the program because of lacking of that experience, as well as exceeding the 15 years plus in career. Probably you could be overqualified. Probably there could be some better solutions, and we will have some interviews to discuss with each of you, your motivation to find whether or not this threshold is important for you or should be somehow adjusted. The business experience is translated into the age. It's no ageism, but it's still some connection, so it could be considered as a proxy. Same for annual income. It's not the mandatory, but you should think about it in terms how to double the income. Why not? Because strong business schools globally, they are proud of sometimes even tripling the income of their students after graduation. So that's our ambition, to help you to develop your career, to pay back your investment as sub. And apparently the minimum degree is a bachelor, but you will see there will be some additional limitations, additional requirements in terms of Ministry of Education requirements for those of you who are just with a bachelor degree. So we will see in the next page some more details about admission process, but it shouldn't be complicated. We are more than happy to help you if you have some questions about it. So again, as I mentioned before, there are two scenarios. For students who have just bachelor degree, they need to pass the exams, they need to pass the requirements of Ministry of Education, which is so-called ЗНО, зовнішнє тестування, for a foreign language. And there are some limitations, or there are some requirements you need to keep in mind. And for us, it's a main uncertainty in terms of the dates, because already Ministry of Education announced that there are gonna be some changes. So these exams in this year could be done in August, but the current dates are still July. Regardless the degree, there could be pass number 1, which is KSE requirements. So first of all, you need to fill in the form. Then, and that is again the deadline of July 1st. Then there's gonna be the submission of documents to Kyiv School of Economics, and 3 different types of exams. One exam with a management test on your management skills, another additional examination on English, and the final, as I already mentioned, it's the interview. So as soon as you are successfully passing these either one flow or both flows, depending on your degree, we are happy to welcome you starting education, and we are starting typically our programs in October. So again, the disclaimer, it's important that all these dates might be changed because of the quarantine. And that's a big challenge. Trust me, for me, I am not at all a flexible person. The entire career of 15 years I passed, it was to gain this experience of flexibility. And now I hope I can manage enough, but I believe that can create some frustration and uncertainty in dates. So please follow our website. This link, you may use the QR code. It will be regularly updated. As soon as there will be some new dates, new deadlines, we will update the site and we will communicate it. So the next steps, you may find more details. We are happy as a team of dedicated business education managers, practitioners. We will help you to answer to your questions. You may find the contacts here. Also, which is much easier right now in the era of online classes, but it makes sense to have a trial, to have some visit of, to get the flavor, the taste of business education. Every candidate has an opportunity to attend one lecture, and then it will somehow support your choice. We are still on a track. That's the final minute, and I have a small bonus for you here. it's before we will move to Q&A session. And for Q&A session, dear colleagues, I would ask you to drop your comments or questions in the chat, or there is an option to raise a hand in a Zoom. I hope right now we are getting more and more experience in terms of using this platform. So raise your hand and then you can ask a question. And here again in Q&A, it's pretty okay to have any language, Ukrainian, Russian, or English. So about 4 myths, which are quite typical in the business education when I'm discussing them either with the students or with alumni, or even those guys for whatever reason never started business education. So myth number 1, attending all lectures will guarantee good quality of knowledge for students. Please remember, self-education is critical. Please remember that in the design of our programs, we are thinking about ratio 2:1, which means for 1 hour you spend with your lectures, you spend with your peers in a room, in a classroom, you must spend 2 more hours in preparing the homeworks, reading pre-reads, working on your cases, etc. So that's about the self-discipline and self-education. Without it, we cannot guarantee the top quality of your education. Another myth about language, I will not spend here too much time. I know some other schools are also declaring at least partial language, English plus something. In Kyiv School of Economics, as I already mentioned, we have truly international background, both from a lecture side, but also the student side. So we have some students, foreigners, and that helps us to remain in English, despite sometimes it could be difficult. And I got some feedbacks from other students. Oh, I underestimated the complexity of studying in English, but please do not hesitate, you will improve. And Sergey mentioned it. So with more practice, language is a rather psychological barrier. Gaining more practice, you will easily be integrated into this community of English-speaking students. Myth number 3, so MBA is needed for people on top management positions only. Not really, not at all. There is a golden rule I was taught by my manager back in my first year of career. He told me, if you want to be a manager, you should act as a manager. So if you want to be top manager, you should act as a top manager. And MBA is giving you some tools and frameworks, overall unlocking your way of thinking as an executive. And another myth, number 4, I think still typical. Apparently, business education is not just a theory. We are practitioners. We are thinking about practical solutions of current problems. That is why we are under construction. That is why we are thinking how to improve. And our goal is to create real value. And the value is, for people, my background was finance. So I'm thinking about measuring the value in P&L impact, profit and loss. So as soon as you can earn money with your ideas, that's gonna be different solution that used to be a year ago. So here, having practitioners, the guys who are facing the same issues as each and any business these days during the turbulence, you will find the adjusted toolkits, adjusted frameworks in a way to explain what you should do to gain better payback, to gain better position in this highly competitive world. Okay, there might be dozens of other myths, and probably each student, and probably there could be an idea for a next invitation for our alumni to speak about their myths they were fighting against during their education. I think it's gonna be really fun to ask this question. But we are right now already exceeding the time slot. I'm sorry for that, 5 minutes behind. That is the time for Q&A. And I'm happy to pick any question you have. Please, either via chat or even voice. We have not a big crowd, unfortunately, so we can have even voice questions. until you are thinking about the questions, let me switch back to our mentee. So did we get some additional answers or ideas? Друзі, якщо зручніше іншою мовою, будь ласка, я гнучкий. У нас 16 відповідей по причині для бізнес-освіти і збільшення професійного нетворку та покриття розривів в бізнес-освіті. Це наші лідери залишились. Development. Okay, no more answers, just 9. What makes KSE unique? 8 answers. Education in English, strong faculty, convenient schedule. Okay, we did not get any additional answers, unfortunately. And okay, if no questions, I see something in the chat. Just a second. Does it mean that having a PhD in political science, I can't catch up? Well, that's a good question in terms of the degree. Was it received? Did you obtain the PhD degree in Ukraine, or did you get it somewhere abroad? So, unfortunately, Ukraine. Okay, so as soon as it's in Ukraine, I think you are apparently above the bachelor degree. So that should fit. So it's a quite unique challenge for us to squeeze between 3 different types of requirements. So business education, okay, 10 years working in international projects, that helps. In our business education, as soon as state diploma is still an asset, we are squeezed between 3 different paradigmas. So the best universities, the best education in the world, it's our first benchmark. The best business practitioners, that's our second benchmark. Despite that, we are still squeezed into requirements of our Ministry of Education. So to pass the accreditations and licensing requirements, we should follow this. And I wish I could say, okay, even if your PhD is from Harvard, apparently you are more than welcome. But even for Harvard, I assume there could be some problem to get the state diploma. So yes, as soon as it's Ukrainian, I assume there shouldn't be any problem for you.
And maybe I will add here to Sophia's question and your answer. So if you're asking Sophia if you can catch up through content knowledge because you are from political science, and here we are talking mostly about MBA and some digital pieces or data science pieces, as Voldemar mentioned. Definitely the courses for MBA specifically are structured in very intensive mode. So if you know English, you can catch up. In terms of content, if you are looking to add some analytical and some economical foundations to your education, I would say definitely you can catch up. Imagine that strategic marketing, and you have either full 3 days or 6 or 7 or 8 part-time days with strategic marketing expert. So expert from multinational business or from other business school is sharing you the most executive summaries on approaches, on instruments, how you can apply, how you can calculate. So it's a matter about your self-investment in pre-reading, in attending courses, and in doing proper Capstone Project. Take into account that you are working for a multinational project for 10 years. English should not be an issue for you. So please join if you want to add MBA, business MBA agenda to your day-to-day life, or as extra education or for future career purposes.
Thanks a lot, Victoria. That's a right catch. I probably was taking this question from the angle of formal requirements. And yes, the program gives a chance for non-economic people to gain this economic background, since, as I mentioned already, there is some basement, there is some foundation, economic foundation for the students with non-economic background. And here, the only comment, if I mentioned that there should be 2-to-1 ratio for self-education for students, in some cases, for people with non-economic background, the ratio could be even more aggressive. So you may need to spend more time on self-education, but apparently all the courses and all the lectures are flexible to bring you to the same page with the guys who have no economic, who have economic background. Thanks for asking this. Any other questions? Okay, there is a silence here, so it means most probably it was not fun enough to generate some questions, but I hope the main purpose here was still to ask you the questions which will help you end of the day to make your decision, and it should be your decision whether or not you need business education these days, whether or not KSE is the best school. Apparently, I would like to convince you to bring you to Kyiv School of Economics, but there could be the case in which I will tell you, no, probably you should find a different school because your expectations are different from the content we are providing here. And also, please think, does it make sense for you to invest your time and your money into business education during the crisis? As we all mentioned today, we think that it makes sense, but your own answer is more important here. So thanks a lot for attending our session. Thanks a lot for spending this evening with us. And I wish you, first of all, stay healthy, please. Also, please think about what in it for you, in what in it for me in this business education paradigm overall. And all the best. Use this crisis as an opportunity, reach new horizons, and stay with KSE.